So I would like to take a moment to give an introduction to my good friend Tyler, and I want to welcome you to the show today. How you doing?
Doing good. Thanks, Eli, for having me on. It's a privilege and an honor.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I know you guys got a little bit of a different company culture and some structure to the business, and I want to touch on some of those things today. And I just also want to kind of chat with you a little bit about what that transitions look like coming to the Denver market, coming from a little bit more saturated of an area, and just a few things like that. So. Actually, when did you guys decide to come here to Colorado, and what was the turning point that said, "Hey, this is what we need to do to move our company forward"?
So we've been in business for approximately 3 years.
Okay.
The first year we started off with just about 2, 3 guys.
Mhm.
Our second year we've had about 8 guys, and then this year we have 23 full guys. We have 14 up
Oh,
here in
that's
Denver,
great.
Colorado.
Okay, that's great. So 23 sales reps, 14 of which are up here. So you would say the primary area that you guys have been working has been Denver. And when did you guys make that shift to come up here?
Last year.
Okay, so last year you decided to come up here, and was there any like particular storms, or what kind of brought you up this way?
Well, Colorado had a dry spell here for quite a few years. Dallas always gets hail. So
Hmm.
it's always a strong market to solicit and do business there. But obviously the profit margins are a lot better up here in Denver, Colorado, which opens up us an opportunity to hire more guys on, right?
Hmm.
And serve people in the communities that need it the most.
So, in that hiring process, because it sounded like some big jumps. You said 2 to 3 guys the first year, 8 guys the second year, the third year, you said what, 23?
Yep.
Okay, so 23 guys. And what do you think is a factor? Because I know, just here at my company, we have a hard time retaining reps. We have appointment coordinators at the company, and just a hard time really retaining the same people, or even finding the right job pool, or even people just showing up to interviews that have originally said, "Hey, we want the job," and pass the first interview, and then they come in and they totally just ghost us. And so, what do you think has helped you guys be able to grow so rapidly as far as sales reps go?
Well, we all know in the roofing space, the turnover ratio is high, right? But
Absolutely.
we really pride ourselves in the culture of our company.
Okay, tell
We're,
me about that.
we're a Christian-based organization. So I've worked for several companies in the past myself. What really drew me to Pro Exteriors, what they really pride themselves is we're faith-based
Mm,
and really pride ourselves in that. So the core values, the things that we do with inside of our company are a little bit different than what most people do.
mm,
We have once a morning at 7:30, we have a meeting. It's called the Men of Honor.
mm.
So it's just faith-based, basically teaching the guys how to be a better men, right? Besides the roofing space, just in society, with your family, relationships, just drawing yourself more near to God. The culture there between the guys and spirituality is just phenomenal. Something a little different that we do as well is we have an in-house pastor that
Mm.
leads everybody, and that's Lonnie Sawyer. He comes from a background as well too.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Lonnie. We talk quite a bit. So yeah, I'm familiar with him, but I wasn't really aware until today that he was an in-house minister for your guys' company.
Yeah.
So what does that kind of position look like?
So for him, he leads the guys in the morning meetings, and then once a week we have a Bible study,
Mm,
and then he also helps out in the residential space with the guys, and then just really pouring those core values from just personal life into the business
mm.
as far as what it looks like, right? So, the money's good, right? That's why a lot of people are in the roofing space. But the most important thing is delivering to the customer. You can only keep what you have by giving it away,
Right.
right? So by doing that, we're there to really just have a core value on honoring the customer as what they need. It's not just about the sale.
Right, because anybody can go out and acquire a bunch of sales, and over time and I've done it. I've went and I'll go rack up, 25, 30 contracts in a couple of weeks, fresh after the storm, meet all the adjusters. I have to manage those projects. I'm racking up another 25, 30 contracts, doing referrals, follow-ups, just the basic process of roofing. And it really becomes like this injustice to the actual homeowners because I'm not really available to cater to that. And so it sounds to me like you're talking about being a good steward of what's been given to you, right? Like being a good steward. And As of recently, I don't take on more than 10 projects at a time. At my company, the roofing broker, where I contract the jobs and meet the adjusters and file the claims and get the scopes put together before I place them with a local roofing company in the metro area. I make sure that I'm not having any more than 10 projects at a time so I can really be more available, not only for my employees and the other people working for me, but also for that homeowner to build better relationships. So it's like less projects, better relationships. And so again, like I said, I would say that's more like being a good steward of what God's given you, right?
100%. I'm blessed to see to have what the Lord has done in my life. It's been an amazing journey,
Mhm.
not just in the roofing space, but in the recovery space as well too. I think one of the bigger things is like you're talking about the follow through, right? Just
Mhm.
after you sell the job, committing yourself to what you said you're going to do with the customer.
Mm.
One cool thing that we really also like to do is not just develop the relationship with the customer as far as business, but afterwards, right? Like becoming friends, imparting them into what our culture is about as well too.
Right, absolutely. I actually was just talking on a little solo shot yesterday, a little 20-minute podcast about the power of insinuation and these different things. And I have this client, and I didn't mention this on the podcast, but it's no shame to me. But I had done a roof for him in the past, and we built this relationship through that process, meeting USAA, getting it approved, me placing him with a company. He like started off as a telemarketing call, and he reached out to me for a couple of projects that he was doing and he wanted some estimates, and ultimately he didn't choose me. He chose the builders, referrals just for the pricing and whatever. But we end up on the phone for like 48 minutes, and this isn't the first time we've been on the phone like that, over a 4-year period, right? And it started off with, hey, I was doing an inspection down the street and I'm coming back tomorrow. Do you want an inspection, a telemarketing call? And it turned into a full roof replacement, which turned into a fully developed relationship with a customer. And even though he didn't use me, for these projects, there's no hard feelings because I've done everything I said I was going to do with them.
Right.
Um, yeah, so I want to get back into a little bit. So your company, Pro Exteriors, you guys are actually customers of ours. You purchase leads, but you have guys going door to door also,
Mhm.
and obviously you do referrals and other marketing strategies. What do you think has been the benefit of using both strategies, door to door sales as well as like getting telemarketing appointments scheduled for you? What do you see as the pros and cons to both sides of that?
Well, as door knocking, you get a relationship one on one with the customer at the door
Mhm.
versus a phone call, right? And from there, maybe it's a little bit easier for the follow up because they've already met you. They've seen who you are right off the cold call.
Mhm.
One thing we do is if you're out there door knocking, you're going to get leads.
Mhm.
So it incentivizes the guys to
Okay.
go out there and door knock. It's kind of like a reward,
Mhm.
right? If you're out there working hard and you're developing relationships with the customers, cold calling them at the doors, we're going to give you that lead. We're going to give you that lead generation company that we're using. So it's more of an incentivization for the guys, the reward base for them.
Right. So basically everyone, so you don't just have guys that specifically run leads and guys that specifically knock doors, or I don't know if there's gals too, so I should say salespeople or contractors. It's kind of a blend of both, right?
Yes,
And so it's like, hey, today you knocked 50 doors and it was 106 degrees, not Texas 106, Denver 106, big difference.
dry.
A dry 106, bring your chapstick.
That's right.
Um, but so you're out there and you're actively in pursuit of uh your career, and you're actively doing what's necessary. But hey, tomorrow maybe you get a pop on 3 roofs that you didn't have to knock, and there's already been a relationship developed with that homeowner over the phone. Because we do, and I know you guys don't know on your end, but they know exactly who you are when you're coming, what the process is going to look like, and they're really our job on our end is to build trust with your company before you show up to make the contract signing process smoother,
Mhm.
using strategies like insinuation and other things like that to insinuate that an insurance claim may be filed the following day without directly telling them we're going to come file a claim. And so I do see like both. You know, I've been in door to door for a long time, and I can see the benefit of, hi, my name is, I'm on the roof, I come down, I sign the deal, as well as kind of looking like a much larger company where we have these different facets. This person's reaching out for scheduling, this person's showing up, this person's our project manager, and kind of building that.
Yeah, 100%. And also with the lead generation company are utilizing the leads through your services, which has been absolutely phenomenal. We appreciate that.
Mhm.
It gives the guys also some more knowledge of how to utilize the neighborhood, right?
Mhm.
Knocking the doors next to that deal that you got through that lead generation service.
Mhm.
Just teaches them how much easier it can be versus the door knocking series.
So you guys, when you're out, and you guys haven't asked for any like specialty deals, like, hey, tile or this or that, but primarily, would you say when you came to the Denver market, you're like, hey, we're going to attack asphalt shingles. That's what we're looking for.
Most companies do when they first start out in a new market. And
Hmm.
then we've developed more into the commercial space here in Denver. We do a lot of commercial in Dallas.
Hmm.
That's just because where we're from and where we're based out of. But yes, primarily when we focused and came up here, we were doing residential asphalt shingles. In the past, probably 6 to 8 months, we've definitely blown up into the commercial space, the TPO, the PVC systems,
Hmm.
mod bit, all the different variables that are out there.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, yeah, I wanted to really kind of come back around and I wanted to really touch back on this company culture because that's something intriguing to me. And that's something that seems to definitely set you apart from other companies that I've talked to. Um, you know, if you went through my phone personally, I mean, I have thousands of roofing company owners and roofers and people in the industry or around the industry or work for companies that cater to the industry because I've been here for so long, not because what I do with my business now. I mean, I knew most of these people. I did a lot of storm chasing, a lot of traveling, a lot of working in different markets. And so, one thing I just, the in-house chaplain, the mentorship that's not like I think a lot of roofing companies want to offer training for their sales reps for what benefits the company, or they want to teach them the tricks of this trade that is going to help them succeed. But you're talking about laying a moral foundation for the people that are working for you, helping expand their total life and eternal life as well. And if we can just kind of touch back on that, what has you guys, because there's a lot of Christian owners that aren't doing this.
Hmm.
So I just want to know, what is it that has you guys specifically like, hey, this is our job, right? This is our job to help prune and groom these young men and women that work for us into solid, productive members of society.
Well, when people come to work for us, we want them to feel at home,
Mm.
right? Not just themselves, but their families. We really try to pour into the family value as well too. It's hard being on the road. It's hard being away from home, especially for my fiance and my personal life. But when I'm here in Denver, I feel at home,
Mhm.
right? And our guys do too. And pouring all those things, those different mentorship programs that we do, it leads into and bleeds into the family culture as well too. Um, our retainage is phenomenal as far as the guys go. I think we've had 4 or 5 guys quit in the last 3 years,
Mm.
and our main goal is obviously to make money, right? That's why we're in the roofing industry, so we can provide for our families, and we really want to pour into their lives and help them make money, right? As well as the companies making money. One thing that we do at Pro Exteriors, and Chandler and Tabitha, the owners of the company, they put a lot of money back into different things. So we do several different company trips and things like that during the year. We have one coming up here, a week long period. We have 40 people coming, husbands, wife, kids, family. And by doing that, it makes it a lot easier for us to retain the guys, but it makes it a lot easier to, how do I want to say this? Um, just make them feel comfortable about what their husbands or wives are doing in their everyday base at work,
Mm,
right? We're not just roofers at
mhm.
Pro Exteriors. We're trying to establish more than that, as I've said before, the foundations and the principles and things like that.
Well, I think that's good because you're talking about like having this family retreat essentially, right?
Hmm.
And at the same time, you are talking about having 14 plus you guys,
Hmm.
the owners and the top staff and all those things. But we're talking about 14 people uprooted from their home life here while they're actively working for very long stretches of time, but then you're taking a moment to allow the families to get back together, to really put something together to give back, and then to so they can also have a network and a support because roofing on the road is I've done it, a lot of it. I've been to Arkansas, Minnesota, lots of Texas, lots of places in
Hmm.
Texas, lots more Texas because there's always hail in Texas.
That's right.
But Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, um, oh, I said Minnesota already. So yeah, I've been to a lot of different areas chasing storms and being on the road. And really, I usually head out to those places solo, but I usually end up clicking with the other roofing contractors, people that can relate to me, staying plugged into recovery networks and spiritual networks and trying to find those types of things. But it's a lonely job,
Hmm.
right? And so I couldn't imagine, like, had I had a family at home at that time, leaving my kids for, a period of time. I know it's like in a better pursuit for their life. However, it would be difficult for me. So I think you're allowing both sides of the families to get together. So if the men are leaving the women at home, the women now are getting an opportunity to meet each other and they can lean on each other for support back in Texas. Or, hey, we're actually thinking about making that move there. Oh, well, we're thinking about moving too. And, just kind of building those relationships on both ends. I think that's very unique.
Yeah, and we actually have had a couple families themselves where the wives are joining together where they haven't known each other before just because of the foundation of what we do inside the company. Our core values, I've said it several times, but the culture is everything,
Mhm.
as far as what I think inside of a company that makes it go, right?
Yeah.
Um, my fiance this next year, she's going to be joining me on the road because she wants to be closer with the company.
Hmm.
It's like it's an attraction, right? It's an attraction rather than a policy,
Right.
100%. So it's just all about bringing everybody together and being at one, everybody feeling at home. When we're doing these different things, the spiritual foundation stuff, these different programs with the guys, they're able to go home and pour that into the family, right? And that just makes the family closer, but it makes them also intrigued. Like, man, they're really not just going to work, right? They're getting way more out of it on the other side than just making money, right? And raising families, things like that. And like you said, it is lonely on the road. I've traveled several different states over the past 11, 12 years myself.
Hmm.
And it's hard when you don't have those close relationships. Honey, when are you coming home? Oh, I'll be home in another week. I got another 10 leads to run,
Right.
or I got to stay here because we had something happen on this roof. And it just, now they know that it's not just about the money, right?
Right.
It's more, man, I really want to stay here longer because I feel at home with these guys.
Hmm. So, if you were to give a suggestion to a newer company that's starting out, because we hear about like company culture and the importance of company culture, but then it's like, well, how does one build that? Because as a owner of a company, typically they, or I know this from experience, you're doing everything. In the beginning, you're probably doing the accounting, you're doing the hiring, you're doing the paperwork, you're getting the contracts drafted, you're following through with certain homeowners, you're helping out with, the insurance claims process for new people. I mean, there's just so much. It's a whirlwind of things, right? How do you really bring that in and create a company culture? What do you think is one of the most important things that a new company needs to hear today to say, hey, take it easy, find what your morals and values are or whatever it is and implement those or put people behind the dream or help them or show 'em, whatever it is, you tell me.
Like I said several times, the culture.
Mhm.
right? You can only keep what you have by giving it away, right? Our focus is let's get these guys in a spiritual foundation, or however that looks. Maybe it's just not spirituality,
Mhm.
right? But being a team as one, doing those different events, not just making it about the money,
Mhm.
right? Pour in other things that you can on the outside. There's so many resources and so many different podcasts you can listen to in today's world, but the culture, be a team. I mean, I think that's the number one thing. Don't make it about the money.
Right. So, what is one team building event that you think could help a new company? Like just an idea, right? Hey, this is something we do. This is something you could easily put together that would help kind of begin to build that culture at their company.
So one of the biggest programs we have is called the Men of Honor, right?
Okay.
And it's a spiritual foundation program. So there's two different books. You basically read one book about all of the Christian things and stuff like that, and then every morning at 7:30 we go through it as a team.
Mm.
Now it's not mandatory that we have to do this, but the funny thing is more of the guys that do it, more of the guys are doing it,
Right.
right? It's like that attraction thing. They're like, man, I really see a change in this guy. I really
Mm.
see a change in that guy. What is it? Well, you should really hop on that meeting at 7:30 and check it out.
Right.
It's totally the attraction thing,
Right.
100%. Just being a positive culture, helping one another, being there for each other. Don't be selfish. We get in the world of the roofing space where it becomes a competition between sales guys, right?
Right.
Like, oh, that guy's at $2 million, right? Oh, I'm so upset, or I'm so jealous of him and stuff like that. And it just takes away, and your ego starts collapsing where you can't grow yourself, right? Because you're so focused on what everybody else is doing. Um, just being a team, being a culture, helping each other out, help each other make money, right?
Right.
The more money that you're helping somebody else make, or the more that you're pouring into somebody else's life, the more God's going to let you receive that. He's going to bless you.
Yeah, I used to work at a company. I won't name the company. I don't work there. But I used to work at a company and I was the sales manager for a period of time there. Even when I wasn't the sales manager, I was always cultivating and training new reps, taking them out in the field with me, teaching them about door knocking, teaching them about the sales process, contract signing. And typically, the first 5 or 6 jobs that they got, the deal was if you knock the door and get me on the roof, I'll sign the contract and it's yours, right?
Yep.
And I'll follow through. I'll meet the adjuster with you. I'll do all the things. It's yours. Even though the company said, oh, well, you'll make a percentage of, their sales. No, I want them to make I want you to make 20 grand this month. So you have some stability. So when I'm not as available, right? And what ended up happening was, I left that company, and over time, I mean, it's been several years, other people have left the company, but they still reach out to me and they still check on me. I was just sick the other day, and I don't know, like maybe 600 people watched this stupid video, but I was just thanking people in the roofing industry that just reached out and checked on me while I was sick, offered friends that offered to bring me Imodium and Pepto-Bismol and, hey, how you doing? You need any food? And it's like I'm fully capable human, but these people, what I put out comes back in totally different ways. Nobody dropped a $20,000 check or 5 roofing contracts on my front door or anything. But the facts are that I can see the fruit of that type of behavior. And so I think that is good. And I think that's a positive thing to put out there. Tyler, I really do appreciate you coming out here today. If there was one takeaway that you wanted anyone to have that's watching, any of the viewers or anything like that, what would it be about persevering through those first 3 years in business? Because I know those are the hardest 3 years. What would one thing that they need to like find some resolve? Would you say having God at the front might be something, or not giving up or pushing through fear? What's one thing that you would just suggest to a new company owner that's trying to push forward through those first 3 years?
It's not easy getting into the roofing space, especially when you want to grow a company, but celebrate those small wins. Be grateful for what that is.
Mm,
Be grateful for the little blessed things it is, even if it's just getting a 20 square roof approved,
mm,
right? And you're trying to go for the bigger stuff and you're not getting those. Stay positive, stay in that mindset. You're still winning, right? You're still
right.
winning. Be grateful for everything that you got.
Right. Okay. Well, I want everyone to take a second here and just kind of do a recap. So, today we have talked about the company culture. We have talked about putting God at the center of a business. We have talked about the retention rate when there is a positive company culture. And we've just talked about really perseverance and strength in business, pushing through and showing gratitude in everyday life. And that's really what we touched on here today. I do want to give another thank you to my friend Tyler from Pro Exteriors in Dallas, Texas, and Denver, Colorado. And I'd like to take a second, when we get done here, to just kind of have another little side conversation. But I do really, really want to thank you for coming out. Everyone, this has been the Roofing Mastermind Podcast, and I thank all of you guys for watching, subscribing, liking, and commenting on this video. And I hope you guys can continue to build your dream as you continue to build your team with your new strategies for building company culture. Thank you guys for tuning in.